Born into a world of shadows and silence, Cody Lee's early life was marked by overwhelming medical challenges that would have crushed even the strongest of spirits. Diagnosed with optic nerve hypoplasia at just 3 months old, Cody was declared legally blind before he had a chance to see the world. And by the age of 4, a diagnosis of autism added another barrier to his communication and development. These two conditions alone would make life an uphill battle for any child. But Cody's story wasn't just about limitations. It was about a quiet strength forming in the depths of adversity. His mother, Tina Lee, vividly remembers the moment the doctors confirmed her son would never see. She collapsed to her knees, overcome with grief, but then made a vow to devote her life to helping her child thrive in a world not built for someone like him. Her love became the lighthouse guiding Cody through a life of silence, misunderstanding, and fear, but also of deep love and hope. He couldn't speak the language of the world, but inside him was a voice waiting to be heard. Cody's life was filled with therapies, tears, and small, hard-won victories, but the most powerful breakthrough came not from a hospital or classroom, but from a piano. A world that had denied him sight, speech, and ease of connection would be forced to listen soon enough. But for now, this was the origin of a miracle in the making. For parents walking a similar path, the takeaway is clear. Even when hope feels like a faint whisper, a single act of belief can change everything. The smallest flicker can spark a fire. It was an ordinary day when Tina Lee first noticed something extraordinary in her son, an almost supernatural connection to music that no therapy or doctor could explain. While other toddlers babbled and played, Cody sat quietly, only to suddenly reproduce complex melodies he had heard just once. The piano wasn't just an instrument to Cody, it was a lifeline. At just 3 years old, he began playing back notes with astonishing precision, and soon, music became the first language that truly belonged to him. His mother recalls moments when Cody, unable to verbally express hunger or sadness, would instead communicate moods and needs through musical expression. The depth of his emotion poured out through the keys, like liquid gold, forming bridges where words had once failed. When he visited Disneyland and instinctively drummed along with a band using his wheelchair handles, it was a profound moment of validation that his inner rhythm was not just real, it was extraordinary. A band member invited him to perform, and in that joyful moment, something shifted in Tina. She realized music was not only a form of therapy, but the very vessel through which Cody could build a future. Music, once a hobby, became his purpose, his sanctuary, and his superpower. For any parent of a non-verbal or developmentally delayed child, the lesson Cody teaches is profound. Listen not just with ears, but with heart, because communication doesn't always come through words. Sometimes the soul sings in silence. Cody Lee's story is inseparable from the tireless devotion of his mother Tina, whose strength and sacrifice powered every note of his extraordinary journey. Long before the world would celebrate Cody's gift, Tina was fighting silent battles behind closed doors, navigating endless therapies, absorbing judgment from strangers, and refusing to believe the limited future that professionals had predicted for her son. She spent years building Cody's resilience brick by brick, often working with him for 3 or more hours a day just to reduce his sensory overload or stop self-harming behaviors triggered by overstimulation. The Lee household became more than a home. It was a training ground where tears were frequent but breakthroughs were sacred. Tina recounts sleepless nights, researching techniques to help Cody communicate, scouring support groups, and praying for guidance, even when hope was paper thin. Her efforts weren't just about coping, they were about unlocking her son's potential. The sacrifices were immense. Career delays, social isolation, and emotional exhaustion, all willingly endured, because Tina believed, without a doubt, that Cody had a voice worth hearing, and she was right. Every piano note he played on the AGT stage was backed by thousands of hours of unseen maternal labor and unwavering faith. Tina's fierce belief in her son is a universal call to parents everywhere. Never let a diagnosis define your child's future. When the world lowers its expectations, raise your resolve. That kind of love moves mountains. While Tina fought tirelessly behind the scenes, Cody faced a world that seemed determined to misunderstand him, a world that saw his autism and blindness as insurmountable walls rather than parts of his unique identity. From a young age, Cody experienced the sting of social exclusion, the cold silence of playgrounds where no one would sit beside him, and the harsh reality of being overlooked in classrooms that weren't equipped to nurture his brilliance. He was a child trapped between sound and silence, between the vivid inner world of musical genius and the isolating outer world of limited interaction. These weren't just the struggles of a special needs child, They were the emotional wars of a soul desperate to be heard. The sensory overloads, the frustration from not being able to express himself, and the moments of public meltdowns became a routine. But even in these darkest hours, there was an ember that refused to die. It was the rhythm in his fingers, the tune in his mind, the unshakable belief, nurtured by his mother, that he was more than a diagnosis. As Cody grew, so did his inner strength. Each time the world said no, his music answered with a resounding yes. His story reminds us that every child labeled different is fighting invisible battles, and what they need most isn't correction, it's connection. The world may not understand at first, but that doesn't mean it never will. America's Got Talent was never just an opportunity. It was a risk loaded with emotional landmines. For a young man like Cody, the noise, pressure, bright lights, an enormous audience posed a very real threat to his emotional stability. Autism thrives on predictability, and a national stage offers anything but that. Still, when the family submitted Cody's application, they knew this could be the defining moment that either shattered or showcased everything he had worked toward. As Tina drove him to the audition, she held her breath, not out of fear of failure, but of sensory overload, anxiety attacks, or even a total shutdown. Yet the moment Cody stepped on stage, holding his mother's hand, something shifted. The atmosphere thickened with anticipation, as people were unsure what to expect from a blind autistic contestant. But Cody didn't flinch. When asked how he felt, he offered a gleeful "I'm good," warming the room instantly. Then came the moment of truth. He found the piano, adjusted his fingers with the confidence of someone who had trained not just for a performance, but for his entire life. And then, magic. As he played Leon Russell's "A Song for You," and his voice poured into the auditorium, silence fell. People stopped breathing. Judges stared in awe, and Tina, just off stage, wept. It was not just a song, it was a testimony, a declaration that he belonged. For every artist who has ever felt invisible, Cody's audition was a battle cry. The world will hear you if you dare to show up, and sometimes, your greatest weakness becomes your most profound power. The moment Cody Lee struck the first notes on the piano during his AGT audition, time itself seemed to stop. It wasn't simply about talent, it was about truth, emotion, and the shattering of every preconceived notion the world had about people with disabilities. His voice, tender yet unshakably powerful, carried the weight of every hardship he'd faced and every triumph he'd earned. There was no gimmick, no spectacle, just raw, honest expression that touched every soul in the room. Judges who had seen hundreds of auditions before sat spellbound. Gabrielle Union clutched her heart, Howie Mandel looked on in stunned silence, and even the famously critical Simon Cowell was visibly moved. When the final note faded, the auditorium burst into thunderous applause, a standing ovation that felt less like celebration and more like acknowledgement. Cody wasn't just singing a song, he was breaking through barriers, rewriting narratives, and proving that disability is not inability. His performance wasn't just good, it was life-altering, reminding everyone that greatness often comes from the most unexpected places. The reaction was immediate and profound. People across the globe watched the clip millions of times, sharing it as a beacon of hope. Cody had entered the stage an underdog, but left as a symbol of resilience, a hero whose story would continue to ripple far beyond that one unforgettable night. The takeaway: never underestimate the power of authenticity. One honest moment can silence 1,000 doubts. When Gabrielle Union pressed the golden buzzer, sending shimmering confetti cascading over Cody and his mother, it wasn't just a television moment, it was a cultural milestone. The entire room exploded in cheers, but the loudest sound was the unspoken realization that everyone had just witnessed something historic. Cody's joy was pure and unfiltered as he reached for the falling gold with childlike glee, unaware perhaps of the door he had just opened for so many others like him. Tina embraced her son tightly, tears streaming down her face, not from sadness, but from the release of years of fighting, praying, and believing. Gabrielle, herself a new mother at the time, spoke through her own tears, saying she wanted to give Cody the world, the moon, stars, and rainbows. That one moment redefined what it meant to be a champion on AGT. It wasn't about flashy routines or perfect technique. It was about soul. Cody's soul had filled the stage, seeped into the hearts of millions, and shifted the perception of what it means to have a disability. From social media to mainstream news, the golden buzzer moment went viral overnight, inspiring not just viewers but also fellow artists, parents of special needs children, and advocates around the world. In the span of minutes, Cody Lee had changed the narrative, not by demanding sympathy, but by offering something far more powerful: truth wrapped in melody. His golden buzzer moment was not just a reward, it was a reckoning. It proved that genuine emotion still has a place in entertainment, and that real stories still matter most. The glow of victory often masks the cost of the climb, and for Cody Lee, winning America's Got Talent came with both celebration and an emotional toll few could see. With fame came relentless schedules, media obligations, and performance demands that could overwhelm even the most seasoned artist. But for someone who relied on routine and calm, it was a constant battle to stay centered amidst the chaos. Cody's condition didn't magically disappear after the golden buzzer. In fact, the spotlight sometimes intensified the very struggles he had fought to overcome. He had to navigate overstimulation during high-profile appearances, adjust to the unfamiliarity of large crowds, and manage the fatigue that comes from living in a world not designed for sensory sensitivity. Tina, always by his side, became not just a mother but a full-time advocate, manager, and protector, guarding Cody's peace while encouraging his growth. Each interview, concert, and public outing required meticulous planning and emotional fortitude. But even in exhaustion, Cody found strength in music. He continued performing with heart and humility, reminding audiences that resilience doesn't mean being untouched by pressure, it means rising despite it. His journey post-AGT became a reminder that success isn't always glamorous. Sometimes it's a quiet daily decision to keep going. For those battling invisible challenges, Cody's story affirms this truth. Winning doesn't mean the fight is over. It means you're strong enough to keep showing up. When the COVID-19 pandemic brought the entertainment industry to a grinding halt, many artists went silent. But Cody Lee found new ways to let his voice be heard. With large concerts and tours canceled, he pivoted to the digital world, where his music continued to resonate just as powerfully. Through Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, Cody began sharing home performances, giving fans a glimpse into his day-to-day life, and keeping his passion alive in a time of global uncertainty. His videos, often filmed with warmth and simplicity, reminded people that authenticity doesn't require a stage, just a song and a soul behind it. One moment he'd be serenading fans with a heartfelt ballad, the next he'd be tap dancing with his siblings, showcasing a new side of his artistic joy. This digital pivot wasn't just a career move, it was an act of love. During a time when people craved hope, Cody offered it freely, note by note. His social media presence blossomed, amassing thousands of followers who found comfort in his music and inspiration in his story. Even while isolated, Cody stayed deeply connected to his fans, proving that art can still thrive in the quiet. For anyone who felt stuck or stifled during lockdown, Cody's adaptability served as a powerful message. Limitations are temporary, but passion is limitless. When the world stopped, Cody kept playing, and in doing so kept the light on for all of us. For any musician, performing at Carnegie Hall is the pinnacle of artistic recognition, a sacred stage that honors only the most exceptional talent, and Cody Lee earned his place not once, but twice. When he stood under those lights, surrounded by history and prestige, he wasn't just representing himself. He stood as a beacon for every person who had ever been underestimated. The path that led him there wasn't paved with ease. It was carved with effort, grit, and unwavering belief. With the help of his piano teacher, affectionately known as Miss EE, Cody practiced endlessly, mastering pieces that would challenge even the most seasoned performers. Yet when he took his place at the bench, his hands moved with confidence and grace, channeling every hardship and triumph into the music. The applause that followed wasn't just admiration, it was reverence. Cody didn't just play the piano at Carnegie Hall. He told a story with every note, reminding the audience that greatness isn't measured by ability, but by authenticity. He didn't have a typical music school resume or industry connections. What he had was soul, raw, unfiltered, and undeniable. And that's what captivated hearts in one of the most prestigious venues on earth. For young artists who feel like the odds are stacked against them, Cody's Carnegie Hall triumph is living proof. The world will make room for your talent, no matter how unconventional your path. As if singing and playing piano weren't enough, Cody Lee unveiled yet another layer of his creative brilliance: tap dancing, a joyful surprise that revealed his boundless passion for performance. What began as a simple exploration with his tap teacher, Miss Sarah, quickly blossomed into an expressive outlet where Cody's rhythm met movement in perfect harmony. His videos, often featuring cheerful collaborations with his siblings, lit up social media with energy, laughter, and heart. In each clip, Cody wore a wide grin, his feet tapping in sync with music and emotion alike. It wasn't just adorable content, it was a declaration of artistic versatility and personal growth. For someone who once struggled with basic motor coordination, tap dancing was nothing short of a breakthrough. It symbolized his continued journey of overcoming limitations, of refusing to be boxed in by a single skill or label. Fans celebrated this unexpected evolution, marveling not only at his steps but at the joy radiating from every performance. In a world where many artists specialize narrowly, Cody defied the mold once again. He became a symbol of how creativity knows no boundaries, and how passion finds a way to express itself, no matter the medium. His dancing didn't just entertain, it uplifted. It reminded everyone that joy is a language of its own, and sometimes, the most powerful messages come not through words or notes, but through a stomp, a shuffle, and a smile. As Cody Lee's journey matured beyond talent shows and viral moments, he stepped into a new chapter, one where impact mattered more than trophies. From 2023 to 2024, he took part in America's Got Talent All-Stars and Fantasy League, performing alongside international legends and earning yet another golden buzzer, this time from Howie Mandel. Though he didn't take home the final prize, his presence alone was a reminder of his enduring appeal and evolving artistry. By January 2024, Cody had begun headlining his own show at the Luxor Theater in Las Vegas, performing regularly through May 11th, a feat few AGT alumni ever achieve. These performances weren't just concerts, they were emotional experiences where fans saw not just a musician, but a storyteller. Each show was a celebration of perseverance and purpose, with Cody connecting to the audience, not through elaborate spectacle, but through sincerity. Beyond the stage, he collaborated with Colin Hay on the song Hello World, following up his powerful original Miracle, both of which showcased his maturing voice and songwriting prowess. Cody's style fused pop, soul, rock, jazz, a reflection of his complexity as an artist. Yet despite the accolades, he stayed grounded, performing at local venues and uplifting fellow neurodiverse performers. In a world obsessed with overnight fame, Cody chose legacy. His music became a bridge to something greater: inclusion, hope, and empowerment. And that legacy is just getting started.